Old World aged cheddar. This is another cheese that is made in a wheel. It's made in a 60-pound wheel. It's aged for a minimum of 14 months. It's also made with raw cow's milk. And when we had hired Mariano Gonzalez to come on as our head cheesemaker, 20 years ago, we had never thought that we were going to be making cheddar. Our experience with cheddar was that it was yellow, that it was relatively, cheap and bland. And then Mariano introduced us to what real cheddar, English style cloth bound cheddar really was. So he brought that cheese to us. We were not experienced cheesemakers at the time. He obviously was. So we told him that, let's go for it. Let's make this cheese. And it quickly became our best-selling cheese. We won some really, really great awards with it. We won 5 times the best farmstead cheddar in North America at the American Cheese Society competition, and then 3 times the best farmhouse cheddar in the world at the World Cheese Awards that are held in London every year. So this was a great cheese for us to add. At that point, we were fairly young cheesemakers. And, now I think that Fiscalini is synonymous with premium cloth bound cheddar. So it was a great segue for us to get into.
This is my hands down favorite cheddar. I back in the day, you focused on the bandaged wrap and the style that you have. So talk a little bit about this style of cheese.
Sure. So, cheddar cheese is historically made in England. That's where cheddar cheese came from. And there is a process called cheddaring that if you want to make real authentic cheddar cheese like they do in England, you need to go through the cheddaring process. And as Michael talked about a little bit earlier, hands-on artisan cheese making is hard work. So the cheddaring process is when we take slabs of curd, we flip it many times, we then put it through a cheddar mill, we salt, and then we hoop. So in order to go through all of those steps, it takes a lot of labor, it takes a lot of time, but the result that you get at the end, which is our Old World cheddar, is well worth everything that we have to go through to make.
Your cheddar is just so much fun to play with, to eat, and to pair. I've done so many different things, and especially over the years, you and I have done beer tastings and wine tastings with this particular cheese. And I'm pairing it up today with a little Sweetwater 420 Pale Ale, and which the Pale Ales work really well with this. And one of my favorite, and it was on the TV show yesterday, is this pepper jelly. I just love a pepper jelly with cheddar. I think it's just like they were made for each other. It's just so cool. And just those guys together, maybe a little cracker. I have a little bit of the Rustic Bakery, just the regular sea salt, or olive oil and sea salt, which I think just adds a little bit to it. But what do you usually pair with the cheddar besides a grilled cheese sandwich?
Well, I think your beer pairing is spot on. So the cheddar with a pale ale, the acidities of the two, they play really well together. Michael and I have done a lot of beer and cheese pairings, and some of them are a home run, and then you have other ones that aren't, and that's what makes it fun too, is you play around. You try different things with it. But I think that what you have, the pairings that you've suggested, the olive oil and sea salt crackers, and then any pepper jelly, you get a little bit of that spice, and then you wash it all down with a pale ale, and that's a pretty good lunchtime snack.
Yes, it is. It's really nice. You know, and for me, I get a nice cheese board tonight to sit back with my family and enjoy. I mean, exceptional cheeses. You know, when you talk about the pairings, a lot of times when people are pairing up cheeses, of course they want suggestions. My suggestion is always start with something that you like and work with it. You know, see how these things work together. Like you said, not everything worked really well, but we learn from that. We learn kind of why it didn't work. And I think it's sometimes easier to say, I didn't like it because of this than it is I like it because, well, I just like it, you know, but you know what you don't like, you know, so that's pretty helpful there. You have the label to show?
Yeah,
There we go.
Old
Yeah.
World cheddar, you know, made in a similar size as the San Joaquin Gold. When we took on our new labeling, we also added some of the characteristics of the cheese, and with the Old World cheddar, we've got savory, intense, and sharp. And I think that for most people, when they eat a mild cheddar or a sharp cheddar, you know, you really have to understand what a real sharp cheddar is. I think ours being aged for 14 months, you know, that flavor profile, when you taste that, that's what you should be getting when you try a real good sharp cheddar.
Absolutely, you know, and that's you know, when you see those signs that saying you know, extra or seriously sharp, this is what a cheddar should be. It's got, like you mentioned, it's an English style, so you have that very traditional cheddar. Basically, you know, what I grew up with was older style cheddars that really brought out that nice tang. But one thing that you have that I really admire is that balance of that butteriness in there. That butter is still there, you know, that milky butter that comes across really gives it just such depth. And it makes it just such a great cheddar.